Chefs of Readdit, what are some tips and tricks that everyone should know about cooking? Whatever you're sautéing, don't crowd the pan. Get a bigger pan or cook in batches, but the reason your potatoes/veggies/etc. aren't getting brown and crispy is because they're drowning in their own juice. A falling knife has no handle. Forever true. Don't learn this one the hard way. Absolutely. If you drop a knife, jump the frock away from it and let it hit the floor. Also, don't cook with no shoes on. The roux, probably one of the most useful things in cooking, it's used as base for sauces. Heat up a few tablespoons of butter in a saucepan and stir in an equal amount of flour. Once it is thick and frothy, you can add a liquid of your choice for the base of your sauce. Milk or chicken stock are my favorites. Add as much as necessary to reach your desired consistency. Add spices or melt cheese to make a great cheese sauce. Be creative. Stop lifting the lid off of a pot of rice. Look at me. Look at me. Stop taking the lid off the goddamn rice. You complain about mushy or crunchy rice, and it's either because you don't measure or you won't leave the lid alone. The steam cooks the rice. By taking the lid off, you ruin everything forever. Welcome to my childhood. Puerto Ricans eat lots of rice, and we learned pretty damn quick not to touch the pot on the stove. My American friends will ask how to make PR rice, and I have to break them of the compulsion for checking and stirring and checking again. Just leave it the frock alone. Chop with the rear part of the blade, not the tip, in a rolling motion. Always taste your food while cooking. I always have like 5 spoons beside me while cooking. This allows you to accurately adjust seasoning, flavors, and cooking time. It is tough at first to know what to adjust, but you get better at it with time, and it will really improve the quality of food you make, especially over salting. To help with knowing what to adjust, my tip from below would help. Smell the seasoning you want to add while tasting. It's the opposite effect of plugging your nose so you don't taste things. The flavors will combine and you'll know if the seasoning is going to work before adding it. Dull knives are more dangerous than sharp knives. When making pork chops, cut the ribbon of fat so that it is in pieces instead of one long piece. It prevents the chop from curling in the pan and cooking unevenly. Steaks continue to cook even off the grill. Scrambled eggs also do this. Take them off the stove well before they reach the desired consistency. My friend's mother taught me how to cook steak a few months back. So far it has not failed me. You have to make sure your steak is dry. Use a paper towel to dry it off. Heat the skillet before putting the steak on. You want to hear it sizzle when you place it in the pan. Rub the steak down with just a little olive oil and some sea salt, and then place it in the pan for until it starts browning, so it doesn't take long on the stove. Then put in the oven at 400 degrees F, for 10 minutes or even less depending on how rare you like it. Everyone has their own method, but this was the simplest way I have heard it being made, and it always tastes fantastic. Use weight not volume to measure ingredients for baking. Peel your carrots. Not everything needs to be on high heat. A good chef knife will be the only tool you really need for home cutting. Save your bacon fat. Soups are the best way to use leftovers. A chef taught me that sprinkling pepper onto strawberries makes them taste like strawberry-flavored candy. I tried it and definitely recommend it. The best advice I've gotten is that the main 2 differences between a restaurant chef and a home cook, other than training and basic cooking knowledge/skills, is that the chef will season, salt, much more generously. Second, and most importantly, clean as you go. You will become so much more efficient in the kitchen, will always have space to work, and will have very little cleaning work to do when you're finished cooking. Quote from a friend: use real butter. It's a mistake to even have margarine on hand. When grilling burgers, make a small dent on the top of the patty with your thumb. When they cook, they'll stay flat, rather than shrinking and getting very tall in the middle. Also, don't play with the meat/squish it too much. It destroys the protein and it loses a lot of juices while cooking. A couple of tricks. Match flavors. If you're cooking something with bacon, use the bacon fat to sauté your vegetables. Cook a steak with butter. Use white wine if the food you're cooking is light in color. Use red wine if the food is dark in color. Don't use butter if you're cooking vegetarian. Don't add chicken stock to a beef-based dish. There are, of course, some exceptions to this rule. That is for a later time though. Learn some basic flavor combinations. A good way to figure this out is to read the history of the spice trade. That way you will know what spices and flavors go with what. A few examples. French lemon and parsley, and/or carrots, onions, celery. Tarragon, chervil, sage, herbes de Provence. Italian tomatoes, basil, garlic, olive oil, hot peppers, oregano, bay leaves. Mexican lime and cilantro, coriander, cumin, hot peppers. Thai lime, mint, cilantro, shallots, garlic, ginger, lemongrass, galangal, Thai basil, green pepper. Indian http://en.wikipedia.org/wiki/list_of_Indian_spices. 3. Food continues cooking after you take it off the heat. Your steaks will continue to cook for a couple of minutes after you take them off the grill. Your turkey will continue to cook after you take it out of the oven. Those eggs you boiled will end up hard-boiled if you don't cool them off. Remember to let your food rest a couple of minutes. It will taste better. 4. Salt and pepper. I honestly don't know how so many people can cook without salt and pepper. Whenever anything or anyone says season the food, only use salt and pepper. I usually use kosher salt, in those boxes. I like the texture, and freshly ground pepper. White, green, red and black peppers are just varying degrees of ripeness or the peppercorn fruit. Pro tip: white pepper powder cauterized wounds without any burning or stinging. 5. There are many different ways to cook something. Try different cooking methods, on the stove, in the oven, dry, wet, etc. 6. Don't discount a good stock. Every time I cook something I save the bones to use for stock. Basic stock is water, carrots, celery, onions, bones. Feel free to add a little something else, but never salt or pepper because you don't want a stock to add any saltiness to your meal. 7. Follow a recipe online but change it up a little bit. Experiment. Have fun with cooking. My least favorite part is the cleanup, but that's why you have a significant other. One cooks, the other cleans. This is actually pretty lousy advice. Regarding cleaning, my girlfriend and I usually both clean after the meal. She gets mad if I don't help her clean my apartment. 8. Use a proper knife and cutting board. Learn to take care of your knife. Try not to cut yourself. I have met many people who don't enjoy cooking because of how difficult it is to cut anything. This should never be the case. 9. Wash your hands. Edit: some people are confused about butter and vegetables. While butter tastes fantastic, it is not all that great for you. When I cook vegetarian, not vegan. Frock that, I tend not to use much or any butter, but usually it is a curry or soup. If I'm making mashed potatoes, frock yeah butter and cream. Edit: 2. Butter is better for you than margarine or other synthetic manufactured stuff. I mostly cook with butter, olive oil, canola oil, or a mix of olive and canola oil, 20/80 respectively. Olive Garden chef here. Here's what you do to blow your friends and guests away. 1. Hire a bunch of high school students or gads. 2. have them take the boxes out of the freezer and begin to thaw everything. Take the soup out of the freezer, thaw it, add noodles. Serve. Open the pre-seasoned and pre-cooked entree. Reheat it in frying pan, oven, or deep fryer. Plate it. Mark up the price 2000% and tell your guest their family. Cold oil, hot pan, foods won't stick.